Hey, it's Mr. Grant again, and here's a video about coterminal angles. So behind me, I've got an example of 6 angles that are coterminal to one another. What coterminal means is that the terminal sides end at the same spot. So notice what's similar about all of these. The terminal side right here all ends in the same position. So really the end result of these are all the same. They may be got there through different means, but the terminal side ends in the exact same spot. So our original one here, 240 degrees in a positive direction, ends right here. Well, it's really the same as this 600-degree angle, which went around a full time plus another 240 degrees. And same thing with this 960-degree angle. It goes around 2 full times and then an additional 240 degrees to end right here in the same position. Coterminal angles can be negative as well. Over here we've got negative 120 degrees. Well, instead of going 240 degrees around in a positive direction, this one goes negative 120 and ends in the exact same spot. And I can go an additional turn around and end up in the same spot going negative 480 degrees. Or I can go 2 turns and end up at negative 840 degrees in the exact same spot. So what you might notice about all these, the numbers are very different, but they're all within multiples of 360 degrees from one another because they're all an additional time around the circle, an additional 360 degrees around the circle to come to the same spot. So if I added 360 to 240, I get 600. If I add another 360, I get 960. If I go from 240 and I subtract 360, so I go backward around the circle, around the graph, I get negative 120. If I subtract another 360, I get negative 480. If I subtract another 360, I get negative 840. There's literally an infinite number of coterminal angles to any given angle. As long as you could add 360 1,000 times and you would get another coterminal angle. You could subtract 360 a billion times and you would still get another coterminal angle. So what we're going to ask you guys to do to test that you know that what a coterminal angle means is you're going to get a problem that's maybe something like this. Here's, I don't know, 206 degrees. And I want to find a positive and a negative coterminal angle to this angle of rotation. Well, that means I need 2 more angles, and one needs to be positive, one needs to be negative. So right away, one thing I could do for the positive one would be to add 360 to this. 206 plus 360, and that is what? 566 degrees. That's my positive coterminal angle. And now for my negative one, maybe I subtract 360, and that would be what? Negative 154 degrees. And there's my negative coterminal angle. Now, you might get an angle that's bigger than 360, either positive or negative, and so you might have to add or subtract 360 more than once. For instance, let's say I've got 500 degrees, and I want a negative coterminal angle to that. Well, if I do 500 minus 360, that gives me 140. That's still a positive coterminal angle. So if I'm looking for both a positive and a negative, now I've got the positive taken care of even though I subtracted. So to get the negative, I'm going to have to subtract 360 a second time, and that would be what? Negative 220? And so there you go. Really, all it is, adding and subtracting 360 however many times it takes until you get a positive coterminal angle and a negative coterminal angle.